I'd like to welcome Minister Simon Harris to the House today. Very welcome, Minister, and on a great week, Science Week. I was speaking a little bit earlier this morning just about the types of activities, and if I may, I might just mention some of the ones that are going on because, well, it astounded me, and I was wishing that we had Science Week when I was in school. I think our Science Week involved the things we did around Halloween and sort of crazy experiments that you came up with, which probably wouldn't be as good. But I suppose it's just that it's on from the 7th to the 14th, so we've got another few days left this week. As has been mentioned, it's events happening all around the country. Log on and find out if it's close to you. But the types of events I was seeing, Minister, like there was coding for kids and DNA fingerprinting. There's events going on out in Dublin Zoo, I think, as well. There was the Go Fly Your Kite in Cork and Reptile Superpowers in Selbridge. There's a Bug Doctor in Galway. Telescope Tour in Birr, of course, Alofer, Science Trail in Sligo, Pint of Science, and of course with stand-up comedians in Chile. And the Pint of Science I know used to go down well in a lot of different locations with students, particularly at third level. And I suppose what's really good about Science Week as well is that it's a place in a way where we can talk about careers. That an awful lot of students can engage with scientists, can engage with engineers, can engage and find out, well, what does this mean? What is a career in science? If I do a science degree, where can I go from here? And I think that's what's really great about Science Week. And we have a lot of communicators. I think what's really important as well is the importance that we talk an awful lot about STEM, science, technology, engineering and maths, but the importance of the arts and the social sciences in communicating the impact of science and technology. And I think that that's something I think we're really getting good at because we see so many science communicators coming out. And I think the way it's been funded through the SFI, I suppose, centres of research, there's a lot of outreach, there's a lot of public engagement, and I think that's really crucial. So I just want to wish that all well. And if I might mention as well, Minister, I've been cheeky because I mentioned it already this morning, but I'm just very, very proud. There's a national school in East Galway, Clontuskert National School, and they won the first Irish school ever to win the Climate Action Project School of Excellence Award, and that was last week at COP26. And they did it because the children in that school, a small school outside of Ballinasloe, are fighting to get rid of plastic on vegetables in the supermarkets, and they have an amazing principle that's driving an awful lot of that change, but working with great advocates for change, and that's down to our children. And I suppose, Minister, the Science Week is one thing, and you mentioned Creating Our Future, and I was absolutely delighted to welcome the Creating Our Future roadshow team down to Ballinasloe and to Roscommon Town as well. And we had a brainstorming event that happened in our town, and it was a wonderful way to bring everyone in the community together. We were able to invite representatives from active development associations, from accessibility groups, from we had groups there from the library, our local Europe Direct library, and I think it just brought a representative of different groups to see, well, what does research mean to them? What do we want to see research in the next 5 to 10 years in our regional towns, as well as in our urban areas? And I suppose one thing I think that's wonderful about this programme, and that's been rolled out by Science Foundation Ireland, is that it really engaged with people in our regional areas, in our local areas, and it showed that science just doesn't happen behind high walls, in labs, in universities, in our city centres. And that's really what's important about the regional outreach. And if I could compliment, I know Brendan Smith, who's one of the regional outreach managers, I suppose, for Insight, one of the SFI centres in Galway. He does great work. I know with so many groups as well that do great work in engaging with schools, both at primary and secondary level, but also engaging with groups like the Active Age Retirement. And, John Breslin in Galway would have been, Ireland in Colour, that book that's been done. I mean, he's one of the lead PIs. The professor from Insight, and that book has been such a winner. I mean, they brought out a second version of it as well, but they had photos in black and white, from like 50 or 100 years ago, and it's just showing how data analytics and sort of that they can train simulations and behaviour to sort of identify and colour in these black and white photos. So I just thought that was a wonderful way, especially for people of all ages, both young and old, to sort of see something in colour. So I thought that was really cool. Just to mention Big Ideas, it's actually on at the moment, so hopefully I get to see a recording of it, but there are 12 campus startups, Minister, that are out there pitching and telling us exactly what wonderful innovations they've come up with through, through our third level sector. That's been supported as well by Enterprise Ireland. So research takes place in our universities, but it also, how do we translate that impact? And as I mentioned, it's through our arts and social sciences, our communication, but also it's through, in some ways, commercialisation. How do we get the impact of research out into into our community and into society as soon as possible. We saw with the vaccine how we were able to accelerate clinical trials over the period last year. Look at what was done. Look at how innovation drove change. We were able to accelerate the ways that we did what we'd done, and people thought could never be changed before, even when it came to prescriptions and electronic prescriptions and so on. That just shows what can be done in a time of real need, and I suppose that's what's really important about the commercialisation of, say, groups like Big Ideas. So we have 12 campus startups. I really do wish them the best, but they're in healthcare and AI and data analytics and technology, and they're looking at driving change in the quality of life for people, because that's what it comes down to. Someone is passionate, someone's an advocate, and those entrepreneurs are coming out of our research-funded system. So the funding that we as a government are putting into Science Foundation Ireland through the Irish Research Council that are funding our PhDs and our master's students and our postdocs, these are the people that are becoming part of these really incredible SFI-funded PI teams, but then can take an aspect of that research and say, look, this could have a real application in real world, and we'd like to see that happen now. You're looking at things there, I know, where they're looking at the impacts of chemotherapy and hair loss. You're looking at the impacts of chemotherapy and loss of, impacts to quality of life. So I just think it would be really interesting. If anybody wants to tune in, it's there till 4 p.m. But listen, I know Minister will be able to speak with us about it later as well. I suppose just some of the other key areas for me was just the evidence base and the science gallery. So just really important that we support our evidence base and just the science gallery. So I'll really welcome what you're saying on that too, Minister. Gair míle maith agaibh.